First off, I just want to say thank you for joining us. Hi and welcome, everyone. And thank you, Mr. Doug Mockett, for being here to share your story with us today.
My pleasure.
So we are here celebrating our 40th anniversary. That's 40 years in business. That's a tremendous milestone. It's quite a feat. And we want to get to know you, the founder. We want to hear your story. And we all know that you kind of wrote the blueprint for success, in the classic American business story, built it out of the garage from the ground up. And we're anxious to hear about where you started and how we got to where we are. So here we are now, 40 years later. And what we all want to know is, who is Doug Mockett? And more importantly, who is Doug Mockett before Doug Mockett and Company? What were you doing before you got into the hardware business?
Well, that's a great opening question. My background is in marketing and promotion, and I worked my entire life doing that. And in the preceding 10 years before I started the furniture parts business, I was doing promotion and marketing and promoting motorcycle and car races.
Okay.
All over the United States.
Wow.
Mainly flat track motorcycle and sprint car races, World of Outlaws, which was great stuff. And I wrote a book and done some traveling. But in my marketing background, there was always a way to make an excuse.
Okay.
The ad wasn't right, the product wasn't right, this wasn't right. There was always an excuse. But in direct marketing, where you're selling directly to the end user, it eliminates all the paths for excuses.
I see.
It goes from you as the manufacturer designer to the end user, and either it's a success or it breaks even, or it's not a success. I mean, it's cut and dried. It's very simple.
Right.
So I really like that, and I enjoyed doing it. And the grommet business began when my then wife she worked in the office space planning business. And at that time, this was now in the late 1970s, early 1980, there were all these desk computers. There were more items that required power on your desk than ever before. And all the wires were drooping off the end of the desk.
Right.
And she had this idea of a grommet to line the hole and put the wires through. And I thought it was the dumbest idea I ever heard of. I thought it was absolutely crazy. But, let's put it this way, we agreed that I would market it.
Okay.
So I gritted my teeth and sent out a mailer and samples, 400 to 400 office furniture makers in the United States, and got an overwhelming response. And to this day, I look back and go, well, all right, sometimes you can be wrong, and it's good to be wrong. So I was happy to be wrong, and the orders started flowing in, and then somebody wanted one of a bigger size.
Okay.
We made one of a bigger size. I discovered injection molding, which I didn't know how it was done, and met a guy who took care of the tooling and making it for us. And then somebody said, what do you do with the wires after they go through the hole? They end up puddling under the desk. But, okay, so I thought, well, we need a channel. And so I designed a channel, extruded, and then that led to other channels. And somebody said, all the table legs out there are really poor quality. I want a good quality table leg. And I'd been the marketing director of this firm that did plating. And I thought, well, this is easy. Called triple chrome plating, and it's polish, 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 plate, 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 polish, polish. It's very expensive, but it's the best way to do it. And you've got to start with cold rolled steel.
Okay.
So I found a guy in LA who could do that, make the table legs, and he knew a plater, and we made them right, and they were a big hit. And then somebody said, I need a drawer pull. So I designed a drawer pull, and it just snowballed. It just, it was more our clients asking, can you do this? And being in the marketing promotion business where we're always pleasing the client, of course we can do it. So, we basically faked it till we made it.
Well, it's interesting you bring up this is all grown out of customer demand. But at the end of the day, it kind of boils down to marketing sense. And it's an interesting distinction. It's sort of a nuanced distinction between, are you a manufacturer or are you a marketer? And I think someone put it best when they famously said, I think Doug Mockett is a marketing guy that just happens to sell grommets, but he could sell anything. I think that's really cool. Imagine what if you'd have gone a different direction. That would just be very interesting. But here we are in the hardware business. And let me touch on something about what you said about, since we know that you are a marketing visionary, did you ever have that aha moment where you felt like you were onto something and you nailed it and you knew everything was going to be okay?
The aha moment, if you will, came early on when I was convinced this was not a good idea and did this mailing and had an enormous response. Usually in direct marketing, a 1 or 2% response is really good. Right. And this time it was like a 45% response. I couldn't believe it. And I thought, wow, I guess I better eat a little crow. There is something here.
Definitely.
So over the next couple of years, it grew and grew. And but it wasn't exactly paying its way. But one day an order came in, and I'm telling you, it turned around overnight. And it's been really good growth and good products, but mainly good people working with me. Their staff is a great inspiration, and they make you do great things.
I hear you. That's great.
No, really, it's true.
Kim, do we have something here? Do you want to mention?
Just a few highs. George Ochoa says hi from Mexico and thank you for making us smile at Carrera Panamericana.
Oh, cool.
And then Harry Urban says hi. And Linda Theo Harris says hi to Billy and Doug.
Well, hello to all of you. It's wonderful to see old friends and reconnect with them. And this is very exciting. This is new media. And this, at least for me, it's new media. For all you youngsters, it's old hat. But this is great stuff. And this is where the world is going. And this is what we need to take advantage of as a business.
Yeah.
And utilize this media. But also, let's see how we can leapfrog and see what's coming next.
Right.
And what can we get on that's coming next?
Actually, that's a good segue into my next question, because I know here we are in 2020. We have social media. Everyone's shopping online. We have an online e-commerce store that everyone, that's kind of how we conduct business today. But if we walk it back 40 years ago, I'm sure it looked very different in 1980. Can you tell us about how things started, how we got to where we are now, and then the challenges that you faced along the way in order to adapt and stay relevant in the market?
Well, I think really it's a matter of staying relevant in the market day to day and looking forward and what can we envision that's coming next? What idea can we come up with? Can we market? Mm-hmm. One of the big advantages we have is that we have no committees, no budget, and we have the freedom to fail.
That's a good way to put it.
Everybody has the confidence to fail. Mm-hmm. You come up with an idea, that sounds great. It works, terrific. It doesn't work, well, all right, on to plan B. And you have to go on and do that, have the confidence to fail. Mm-hmm. And everybody goes, no, you need the confidence to succeed. Everybody can succeed. Few people can have the confidence to fail.
Well put. Yeah.
I mean it.
That's great. Um, this next question, let me set the table here a little bit. I'm sure as a business owner, you probably experience the gamut of emotions. It's probably just an emotional roller coaster. You have the highs, the joy of, say, like a new product launch that's successful. You have the fear of the unknown and everything in between, the full spectrum. But I wonder, since I know you care deeply about your people, has there ever been a tough time where you were afraid you weren't even going to make payroll? And what did you do to make that happen?
Well, there was one tough time when we were, as we say in California, we were between big money. And I went to my savings account and wrote a check, and nobody knew.
Wow.
And then 2 weeks later, we had the cash flow, and it was fine. But it's important, in my mind, to have a stable organization and one that's growing. Mm-hmm. But you've got to have stability for the confidence of your employees.
Right. Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah.
I know I can speak to this personally. I can attest to the fact that I've been here for 13 years, and there's never, not even once, ever a time where I thought or worried that I might not get paid at the end of the week. And so we appreciate that hustle going on in the background, and sincerely from the bottom of my heart, and all of us. I know that's got to be probably one of the hardest parts. Probably a lot of sleepless nights in those uncertain times, especially in a time like now. We're just in a rough year. It's been crazy for everyone, and you somehow got us through it.
Well, it has been a tough year, and our sales are down, mm-hmm. like everybody's sales are down. But it doesn't stop the momentum, and it doesn't stop. You don't hide under the daybed until everything comes out. It gets better. You can't do that. You've got to look forward. You've got to keep coming up with new ideas, new concepts. And you can't change yesterday, but you can change tomorrow. So we're always looking to changing tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And what happened yesterday, that's yesterday, and that's, in your rearview mirror.
Yeah.
So, but you have to look forward. You've got to keep positive, keep looking forward, and keep grinding it out.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder actually, so hindsight's 20/20, as we all know, and luckily the windshield is bigger than the rear view. You can't live in the past. Always looking forward. But knowing what you know now, would you change anything? Is there one thing that you would do differently?
Probably not. I mean, I knew you were going to ask that question. I thought about it, and I thought, I don't think there's anything that would really change.
Yeah.
The idea from day one has been a direct marketing business, direct selling directly to the end user, mm-hmm. and that hasn't changed. The media has changed,
right,
and how we do it has changed, but the concept hasn't changed. The foundation is the same.
Right.
So, not really. We're just trying to keep with the modern times and just stay active and focusing on it all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's great. You did it your way. Proud of every moment, right? Mostly.
Yeah. Mostly.
Okay. That's good. Well, then, what would you say? I mean, we're 40. This is 40 years. We're talking a long time here. What would you say is the key to long-term success in growing a business, bootstrapping it from the ground up to where you are now?
The key to long-term success is taking primary care of your customers. Mm-hmm. You've got to have your clients, your customers, you've got to keep them happy, satisfied, and you've got to not only meet their expectations, but exceed them. And it's got to be, you've got to, you've got to make them coming back,
right,
for more. And you've got to satisfy them every single day and every single order. It's got to be right for every customer. And that's what we really try to do.
Well, So the key to long-term success is taking care of your customer, but you probably have a different outlook on things here in 2020 than you did back in 1980. 40 years later, what drives you now? What keeps you going? What motivates you?
Well, I mean, I love my work, and I love the people I work with. I love the customers. I love my employees, and I don't play golf, so I may as well go to work.
It's a good way to look at it.
No, there's a cute cartoon that I've seen that this guy says, "I'm retired. I'm going to be home every day," and she goes something like, "I love you madly, but not for lunch."
That's good. So the people that know you personally know this. Anyone watching might learn about this about you. You did touch on the fact that you were involved in racing motorsports earlier on in your career, but it's still something you do to this day. And I wonder, is there some parallel between racing and running a business? You know, you have this entrepreneurial spirit, but you have this adrenaline junkie, addiction. You fly planes, you race cars. Is there any connection there? And I know it's kind of an abstract reach here, but maybe you can speak to that.
Well, I don't see it as an adrenaline junkie. It's
Okay.
just something that you do. I mean, I suppose golf would be the same way. It would be something that you really want to excel at. I really, really try to excel at racing cars because it's really the hardest. It's really hard. But you drive around a track and come upon turn 2 and you make a mess of it. Well, you've got another lap to get it right. And sometimes you get it right and sometimes you don't. But it's, oh, wow, car racing is dangerous. I don't look upon it as being dangerous. It's just something that you do within your limits, and you're fine. A corner can be taken at 100%. If you take it at 101%, you're not going to make it.
Right.
So there's a fine line that you have to do.
Right.
And but it's just a great avocation. I absolutely love it, and been involved in it in one way or another. And we've been sponsoring cars and drivers over the years, and we're now sponsoring partially IndyCar driver Colton Herta, who we've been sponsoring. Gosh, I think for like 8 years since he was so young he couldn't race in America, so he went to England where he could race at 14. Wow. And I think he was 13, but they winked their eye and he started racing there when he was 13, and he's now, I think, 20, 21, and driving Indy cars, and finished third in the series this past year, and just a real superstar.
That's great.
Flying was a totally other matter. That flying came out of frustration. I had, in the early 1980s, to sign a contract in Central California. Excuse me. And it was either all day driving, 5 hours up, 5 hours back, or flying, renting a car, driving, signing this, going back, waiting for the plane, flying back. And I'll never forget it. I flew up and rented a car, drove 50 miles, signed the deal. This was before FedEx was around, really.
Right. Yeah, I guess so, huh?
And went back, waited 4 hours for the flight back to LA, which made puddle jump stops the whole day. And I'll never forget, $256 for the airfare, like $55 for the rent-a-car, $10 to park at LAX. And I'm going, I probably could have flown my own little plane up there for that. So the next day I went down to the local airport and signed up for flying lessons, and been doing it ever since. Wow. But it was more out of necessity than anything else.
Right. Huh.
So,
how cool. Well, I know, actually this came up a couple days ago. Somebody pointed out on Instagram, I know, so since we were talking about the racing a little bit, someone pointed out that this was your 30th year at La Carrera Panamericana in Mexico. 30 years, that race has to be extra special for you. Is there something about it that keeps you coming back that you can share?
Yeah, well, the Carrera Panamericana was originally run from 1950 to 1954, and it was run by the Mexican government to celebrate the opening of the Pan American Highway from the United States to Guatemala. They completed the road through Mexico to celebrate it and get some publicity. They ran this car race, and it became a big deal.
Right.
And if you ever want to know where Porsche got the name Carrera from,
no way.
It's from winning the 1500cc class in that race.
Oh, okay.
And so
cool.
The guy who won it the first time is this guy named Herschel McGriff from Portland, Oregon. And he drove his car from Portland down to the start, which was in southern Mexico, drove it up to northern Mexico, and then drove it home to Portland. And he had won the $17,000, which 1950.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So he became a hero. In any event, I was reading about it as a kid in car magazines, and then this promoter in Mexico, Eduardo Leon, revived it in the late 1980s, and I said, I've got to do it. So basically been doing it ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think there are 32 of them. I think I've done 30.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. Absolutely fabulous.
And I know you meet a lot of interesting people along the way, too. In fact, it's funny how social media brings up all these memories, like someone pointed out 30 years at the Carrera. I saw actually a Facebook memory popped up yesterday, and it told me 4 years ago yesterday, you were in Chapa de Mota delivering an ambulance. And can you tell us about that? That's a great story.
Well, this is bizarre. I have a navigator who's Mexican in this event. It's a rally, so you need two people in the car. And then the navigator tells you where the route is. And he's Mexican, Manuel Inguez, lovely guy. And one of the stops 4 or 5 years ago was in this little village north of Mexico City called Chapa de Mota. And we're there, and this lady comes up and goes, blah, 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 blah. And I said, I don't speak Spanish. You'll speak to Manuel. So blah, 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 blah. And Manuel says, she wants to know if you'll buy the village an ambulance. And I said, well, tell her what.
That's pretty blunt. Yeah.
And then she explained that it was 5 hours to get someone to a hospital.
Okay.
They had to call the ambulance from Toluca, had to drive out and back. And so I thought, well, that could make sense. And then a few weeks later, Manuel called and said, my friend in Mexico City has taken an ambulance in on trade for a new car. And we can make a hell of a deal.
Okay.
So we made a hell of a deal and delivered the ambulance to Chapa de Mota.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and I remember that because you were down there, you had a Santa hat on, you filled the whole ambulance full of toys for the kids at the local elementary school and everything. That was just one of the many awesome Doug Mockett stories, in that vein, your philanthropy and everything else that give back to the community. That's just awesome.
Well, thank you.
Kim, do we have anything? Because I know Doug's time is valuable, and we thank you for sharing with us. If we have anything we can touch on before we wrap up here.
So first off, a couple of shout outs. So Deb Cumming from FCM and Old MMW.
Oh, great.
Says, hello, Doug. And Spooner's Woodworks.
Sure.
Says, hello, and thank you for the quality products.
Oh, thank you for your business. We love it. Thank you.
We also have some great questions from Jessica Ferguson. She said, have you ever considered teaming up with new companies or entrepreneurs that use your product in their design?
No, we haven't. And we haven't because the opportunity hasn't arisen. If anybody had said, can you help me integrate this or do something with it, we'd be glad to offer our advice. We'd be happy to do it and help mentor someone bringing it to reality. Much as we have our design contest, which encourages innovative furniture component designs. And we just judged the other day the 35th annual design contest. We have wonderful concepts. And we'd love to work with anybody who would like to do that. It would be actually, it's a great question, great idea, and it would be our pleasure. We have a lot of skill sets here with a lot of very talented people, and we could bring something to the party.
And then one more question from Jessica is, what advice would you give to new entrepreneurs? Would you suggest sending their products out blindly, just as you did in the beginning?
Well, it wasn't really sent out blindly. It was a focused mailing list. My background was in marketing and some direct marketing. So I bought a mailing list of 400 office furniture manufacturers and sent it to the president of each manufacturer, of each furniture company. So if you're going to do that, know your target audience and find how best to reach them. If you're going to do a mailing, or nowadays an email, or I would, it's got to be focused. It can't just be to the world, because it'll get lost.
Well, one final question. So, what's next? Any plans to retire?
No. What's next is what, Doug 2.0? What's next is just looking forward and designing and making fabulous furniture components and helping people integrate them into their furniture. As I said in a line in the beginning 40 years ago, fine architectural hardware for your fine furniture. And I truly believe that our hardware enhances your furniture and really brings out the best in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I truly do.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Doug, and cheers to 40 years.
Thank you very much, and have a great holiday, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Thank you very much. And to 40 more.
40 more.